Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I... In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I mark out my supply and demand zones. These zones actually hold logic. I mean, the things that I see going around YouTube are that a lot of people will just mark out their zones just like as a whole area, like for supply and demand. Like, and for me, when I was learning, I didn't really understand the logic behind it. Now, I understand that, for example, just looking on a lower time frame, this area would be an area that I would like to see on a higher time frame. However, if you're a scalper, you really, to keep it simple, you really just want to stay on like 1 or 2 time frames. You want to trade one session. You want to trade a couple of pairs. As you see here, I've got only 3 pairs. I primarily trade just Forex. Obviously, I keep an eye on the cryptos as well and stuff like that. However, this didn't really resonate with me. I needed to make something a little bit more for me. You know, I like to see things strictly have logic behind them, as well as show often, as well as happen, you know, every session. I like to see a frequency of these trades happening. Now that doesn't mean I jump into a trade every session. It doesn't mean I trade 10 pairs because it might only and obviously I cherry picked these just for the examples of this video, but it works on so many other pairs. It works on so many different time frames. Just pick what's best for you. Okay, so right here we have a break of structure to the upside. Correct? So we just had a break of structure here. Now I don't count wicks as break of structure. I like the whole body to close. So we would have broke structure on this 10-20 candle. Okay, and right here I look back. This is a big move. I look for my supply and demand area. So right now this demand area is showing to me. So it's the last down candle before the upwards move. That's very simple. That's all supply and demand is. You could call it order block. You could call it whatever, propulsion block. You know, I don't really care what you call it. Just call it a red candle if you want. But yeah, so I've marked off this demand area, and the reason why I've marked out this demand area and why I haven't, like I said earlier, chosen this whole area is primarily because this is the logic I like to see behind them. Okay, so we had a break of structure up here, like I mentioned, and the reason why I've drawn out this demand zone and why I like for price to come back into this demand zone, and then I would like to see price continue breaking highs from this demand zone. This logic right here, oh, that's not even a good, right there, a gap. Now I only qualify supply and demands that have a gap. I only consider taking the trades when they have a gap. The reason being is because I like to think to myself, this is what I say in my head when I'm looking for trades like this. The market has just expanded with a lot of volume to the upside. Now, we need to fill in all these gaps. And for me, it's like, okay, people say, oh yeah, like fill in gaps, fill in fair value gaps, imbalances, voids, blah, blah, blah. For me, I need like, okay, yeah, that's cool. But like, where does that stop? Where does that stop? And for me, if I coincided that knowledge that everyone has and coincide it with my understanding of supply and demands, etc., and the way like you can just quickly scalp them, this is exactly the reason why I like to take these trades. So what I would be looking for is for price to come back down into this demand zone, fill in all these gaps, and then there's no gaps. Right, so then price will then continue on the trend is what I'm thinking in my head. Now, it doesn't have to continue on the trend, but it just has to give me a reaction that I can get in and I can scalp the supply or the demand area. So that's the logic that I have behind it. So in this example, price came back into the area, and for this exact example right here, we're just going to use a candle confirmation or a break of the high. You could do whatever you want, but I'm going to use candle breaking of the highs to get into this trade right here. So what I'm waiting for right now is one of the candles to break a candle high. Now, also, you have to make sure that the candles or the price, whatever you want to call it, doesn't invalidate the box. Now, right here, as you can see, that candle did not invalidate the box, therefore it's still valid, right? So if this candle was to just continue going down like that, we would take this box off, and we would not even be looking for anything after that, because right now we could either be ranging, or we could just be disrespecting, or we could be changing trend. It's quite simple. So also, let me just put that box, not even that box, bruh, come on, man. Okay, so waiting for a break of the high. Obviously we got it here, and so we get in right here and we put the stop at the bottom of the box, right? So that kind of coincides with the low. And what I like to do is just for my first profit target, just go for a 1-to-1, and as you can see, that nearly got hit, but you know, bang, there you go. So this is an example right here where it would have got, TP would have got hit in 10 minutes, right? So that's one example. Oops. Now the next example, like I told you, it can be on any pair you'd like, any time frame you like. So this is just AU once again in backtesting mode. So we had big breaks of structure to the downside. Nice break of structure here. We had a nice break of structure. I think, did we break structure down here? Well, obviously, like I said before, well, that was the main break of structure for me, because the velocity of which this broke with a whole body, not a wick. So we go here. This is now liquidity down here. And as we said before, well, this is an opposite example. This is a supply example. So this is the last up candle before the big downward move. For me, very precise means it's the last up candle before the downward move with a gap, right? So it can't be the last couple of up candles with a downward move with some gaps somewhere in amongst that area. That doesn't work for me. It's not, I can't understand it, right? So right here, we get into the zone, and now what we're looking for is for a break of the low. As you can see right there, as you'd be waiting for this low to be broken, you've had to stop up there. First take profit would be a 1-to-1, and it would have got hit in the first 5 minutes. One candle. This is why I say this kind of idea and the logic behind it with the gaps to make price come back to a certain area, and then you wait for a confirmation such as breaking the low, or candle confirmations, or limit orders if you want. Obviously, I like to have a little bit of a confirmation. You just need to scalp them. You don't need to be correct with the trend. You don't need to hold on to something for 10 hours. Like just get in and get out. Take your money, understand your win rate, understand your statistics, understand whether you're going to risk 1%, 0.5%, 2% if you're really risky, and just continue to execute. Okay, so this one, as you can see, it would have carried on going. So if you wanted to take partials out of 1-to-1 and then, you know, let the rest run to a higher time frame area, whatever. I mean, we're not going to go into it in this video, but right now the lowest it went to is a 1 to 2.3, right? So if you leave runners, you know, great. I mean, this was the end of the session right now, but as you can see for both of my examples, they were traded within a session, which is critical. Okay, so what I want to show you right now is a live trade that I called out this morning. A live trade that I called out in the Discord. Obviously gave in the trade ideas in the morning. It's up to you whether you take it or not, but this was a live trade this morning on EU, right? So this is the day. This is, you know, this is today. There's no backtesting mode on this one. This is exactly where price is right now. And yeah, so this is what I was looking for this morning. I was bullish, as you can see. I mean, we were bullish for a while, since last week. So for this whole last week, we were bullish. So, you know, today on Monday, I was expecting more bullishness, because all you can do is go along with the trend. Like I said, this is a trend following strategy. It's the best trend following strategy that you can go with, in my opinion. It meets all my criteria. So right here in London session, I mean, I'll give you a little moment to see if you can find it yourself. Now, so I'll get the area. So when I first came to the charts, I was looking at this area, right? Price broke structure to the upside. As you see here, broke structure to the upside. We were already bullish, so we've got the confirmation there. It went away with lots of volume. Great. Left the gap, left a downward candle. Perfect. I was waiting for price to come back. I was like, okay, I'm getting ready. It never came back. Right? This candle right here never came back. All right? So we took off the zone because this happened. Now, this is why you have to be very precise, and this is why I like it, because if it checks all my boxes, I know it's very precise, I know it's a high win rate, I know that I'm going along with the trend, I know all these factors, right? It's like a checklist. I mean, if you don't have a checklist, if you don't have a strategy where you have a step-by-step checklist, you're doing something wrong, because this is how easy trading can be as long as you stay with it, okay? So right here, we had the bullish engulfing. We were already bullish from this break of structure here. Now, we had a gap here in between these two, ever so slightly, but still, nevertheless, a gap, right? And then, obviously, break of the high for our entry criteria right here. Stop below the box. Obviously, a one-to-one for our first take profit. Bang. Would have hit in, well, it said it would have hit on this candle, so 15 minutes, but realistically, you probably would have hit something around there, stop to break even, all that good stuff, even trailing stop, whatever you want to do, but that got hit, and that's how easy it can be. And as you can see, the runners, I mean, went to a potential nearly 4R. So that's the power of trading along with the trend, and that's basically all I have for you. Now, because you stayed to the end, I have a very simple way of identifying these things for you. As you train your eye, you can get this indicator. Now, this because it's very, I mean, it's very easy to draw out your supply and demand areas with gaps, obviously, and this is what helps it. It has to have a gap. Now, this indicator is really good. I mean, shout out to this geezer right here, whoever he is, because it just makes learning supply and demand very easy, as long as you trade it with a trend, obviously. Now, you can go through all these settings if you'd like. I mean, there's just different colors, etc., etc. The usage of wicks, how many you want on there, etc., etc. So that is that, and basically I'll show you how to use it real quick, and this is the easiest way. This can never get easier, realistically, in my mind. So it shows the color, shows the supply zone in this occasion, and it will go off. It will change color if you want it to, when the supply zone gets mitigated. So the supply zone gets mitigated on this candle right here, and whether your entry criteria is break on the low, etc., etc. Let's just use the break of the low in this scenario. Stop above. See, it even draws out, because we use the high of the area as our stop loss. It still coincides it. Now, what I want to show you, as you can see here, 1-to-1. Got hit exactly. I want to show you is how they take themselves off if they get invalidated, right? And that is just normal. You're going to get losses. So for example, let's just say you were taking this demand for whatever reason. So it came in, great. It broke the high, awesome. Okay, so you would be in, for example. And then it disrespected the low. Took the box off. Great. You don't want to be looking at that area anymore. That area is completely gone. You want a new, fresh area. You want a new, fresh zone. Okay, and I just thought that was a really cool little thing right there. So yeah, so that is the end of the video. I hope that shows you the ease of how trading can be if you follow your system, step-by-step system. I'll go more into that into another video. Obviously, I go more in depth into these concepts and the actual logic behind them, and higher time frames, trends, etc., and how to use them that way in my group. But obviously, you don't need to join it. Honestly, you can find all these things on YouTube for free. I mean, when I was learning, I joined a group. I joined groups just for the aspect of, like, I don't know, just being in a community, really, because I didn't have many people around that were trading. So, like, you know, I'm just going to be a loner, basically. So I joined these groups primarily for that, and it's great. Obviously, if you get in a group of like-minded people, it's awesome. So if you ever wanted to feel that comfort then obviously the Discord channel is where we speak with our members, etc. And obviously they get insights to all the fun stuff and all the details. So that's all today. We'll be posting again shortly. So make sure you subscribe and watch out for that. Thank you.